Yeah, that's a good sandwich.
All right. Okay. I'm sure that brings out that there's conversation when a lot of people come to talk to you about championship games and things, but I want to go back a little further. So you told me on the phone that while you were a puppy, you played baseball. So I'm just kind of curious, as you were growing up, did you have a favorite sport?
Well, you got to remember, in 1954, there wasn't a lot of time. I didn't live in Milan. Only 3 of the kids actually lived in Milan. I lived in Pierceville, about 3 miles away. It's a small community, maybe 100 people on a good day. And 4 of us were from that little town of Pierceville, and nobody had ever landed at Milan from there. We all went to school. Three of the team lived on the farm. So it was different back then. I never had a phone when I graduated from high school. I didn't have electricity until I was 13. We never did have running water. We had to trip out to the outhouse. So my father taught school for 20 years. Mom died in 1941 when I was 5. I was the last of 6 kids, and he couldn't make enough money teaching school, so he went to work at a pump factory in Lawrenceburg, 15 miles away. He was trading the pumps. And he had a lot of work. Like, when I was in the 3rd or 4th grade, the best Christmas present I ever had, he made a backboard from borrowed wood, bought a goal and a basketball, and the basketball had laces just like a football with a bladder. And so it's my Christmas present. I'm the last of 6 kids. Guess who got to play on it first? All the others. But we hung it as high as we could get. In Pierceville, we had about 2.5, 3 acres, and we planted everything that we ate during the winter. We stored it upstairs. We slaughtered 3 pigs every year. That was our meat for the year. Okay? And we hung the goal on the top of the smokehouse where we kept the pigs after we butchered them. And it was 9 feet tall under the basket, but then the slopes went up like this, and to the left, since we didn't have running water, we had a pump. And the pump had brackets on us like this with a chain. We weren't smart enough to cover those brackets that we playing. If a ball happened to hit there, the bladder would, we'd have to work 2 or 3 weeks to get another basketball to play. And eventually, next door, Roger Schroeder, who was on the team, his dad had a store. It was a post office, a grocery store, a hardware store, and a television store, and behind there was a 2-car garage. He could get his goal up 10 feet, so we put it up 10 feet and put shovels with handles out and hung tin over them so we could play at night. So that's what we did all summer, and when we weren't playing basketball at the school, we played over there. And then we played baseball when we were in the maybe 6th grade, 7th grade. One of our fellows at Pierceville, Lloyd Freeman, was 3 years older than us, and they lived on a farm, and he drove a farm tractor. In Pierceville, they parked a road grader under the tree when they finished work every day. We had a midnight requisition because Lloyd said, I can drive that. That's just like my phone. So Frosty Cornett owned about 20 acres, and he gave us part of his field, and that midnight requisition, Lloyd graded out a baseball diamond. We put up the fence, and Pierceville had a baseball team because of that. And we had a guy that was 4 years older than us that lived in Pierceville that threw it about 85, 90 miles an hour. Nobody in the county defeated us. We played baseball all summer, and because of that pitcher, Wayne Smith. So basketball was our favorite. I mean, we couldn't play on that field up there during the day, but we would, 3 or 4 of us would get together and, you know, we'd catch it and hit it and go find it. Same thing with the baseball. We had tape all over it because it was torn. We didn't have enough money to get another one. And our bat, we broke it, so we had to wrap wire around it to put it back together. So that was our activities. And basketball was the favorite, of course.
How old were you, like what grade of school were you in when you got to start playing for a school team?
Well, I was in the 6th grade. The 3 kids in Milan made the team. I didn't. So I started playing in the 7th grade. And there were 7 of us from our 7th grade on that played basketball. And we learned a lesson early. Our coach at the time was Mark Combs, 8th grade teacher. And that season we were undefeated. There were 9 schools in Griffin County and we beat all of them during the season. So we're going into the 8th grade tournament. And we're pretty confident. A team, and remember this name, Osgood, they're a county rival. They'll come up a number of times in this conversation. And they beat us by 10 points. We're crying our eyes out down in the dressing room, and Mark Combs comes in, and the best lesson, and we learned it early, so later. He looked at us and he said, fellas, it's all right. You had a great season, but never, ever walk on the court thinking you're going to beat that team because you defeated them before, or if you haven't played it, don't think you're good enough to just walk on the floor and beat them. So as 8th graders, we learned a lesson that taught us, instead of having to find it out in a sectional or tournament game.
That's good stuff. You've already answered my third question because you talked about some of the stuff with your teammates. So when you got to high school, if I read it correctly, your high school coach got fired?
Yeah, good to see you.
What I read was that he got fired for ordering new uniforms.
Well,
is that accurate?
Here's what the situation was. Mr. Grinstead today, Henry Grinstead, and he was like 50 years old, so we thought he was an old man.
Yeah.
I didn't play varsity as a freshman. I didn't play varsity as a sophomore. Neither did the other 7 of us. When we were sophomores, there were 7 seniors on the ball club. A couple of us, or 3, got a dress for the varsity after the B games, and basically we're sitting on the bench. So as sophomores, we lost the first game of the season. The second game, we're playing Osgood, that county rival. They have us down 20 points at halftime. Mr. Grinstead comes in and points to the 7 seniors and said, fellas, if you don't come back and make a game of this, I'm taking your uniform. Now, you didn't do that in the 50s.
Okay.
Basketball, we never had football playoffs until the 70s. Basketball was king. We got beat 82-45. He draped 7 uniforms on his arm and kicked 7 seniors off the ball club. Kicked them off. Gone.
Had there been bad games leading up to that, or was it that one game?
Well, we lost the first game, and this is the second game of the season. So, I mean, you don't do that. I can't emphasize enough how important basketball was to a small school. So, he moved myself and Bobby to the starting five. Oh, by the way, he brought the two best players back. So we had one was the center and the other was the guard forward. Moved Bobby and I to the starting five. We beat Batesville, the largest school, by 5 times in our whole county. We hadn't defeated them in 8 years. We played that same Osgood team that beat us 82-45, and we beat them by 12 4 weeks later. Everybody's excited. I mean, they kind of forgot about those 7 seniors. I mean, they were really upset when that happened. I mean, there was a move to get Mr. Grinstead fired at that time. Because they were, basically, the majority of them were downtown kids. And so that season, we had the best season Milan had ever had. You know, our tournament goes sectional, regional, semi-state, and state. There were, in 54, this is a little ahead, there were 752 schools. The sectional narrows them down to 64. So you eliminate all but 64 in the sectional. So we go to the sectional, we didn't win it. Milan had won 4 times before, 1930, 35, 36, and 46. We didn't win because I'm home with the flu. They won't let me get out of bed. 3 of the guys are just getting over the flu, and we got beat by Batesville, the team we beat during the season. But 7 of us are coming back. Everybody's excited. A month after the season, the principal fired Mr. Grinstead. Mr. Grinstead called a meeting, and we're sitting up in the stand, and he tells us that he ordered uniforms, and that's the reason that the superintendent said he fired him. But he said, I offered to pay for him out of my own pocket. He wouldn't take it. So he's gone. Now, I'm going to say this again. Basketball was the most important thing in the whole state. Everybody followed the sectional all the way out to the semi-state. Each family member would pick their picks, and whoever won the thing got a prize and thing. So he's gone. He's living in Milan, coaching 3 miles away. His wife has a beauty parlor in Milan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the new coach coming in, he's facing a storm. I mean, here's Mr. Grinstead going to the Arkenbergs for downtown coffee. They had their names on the cup. And the man they hired was Marvin Wood, who was only 24 years old when they hired him. He never went to the downtown coffee clubs. Never visited there. People didn't like that. We started practicing. And Mr. Grinstead was more like Branch McCracken at IU. No fundamentals. Running guns, scoring more points than the other team. In fact, one of our players, Glenn Butts, who was a sophomore when we won, went to IU, and he said he learned more in practice with Marvin Wood than he did in 4 years at IU. But they were successful. Won NCAA 53. So Woody changed our whole system. We were run and gun. He put in the Hinkle system. Now, Mr. Hinkle was a fellow from 1920 to 1970. He was head football, head baseball, head basketball, and athletic director from 26 to 70. And he had an offensive system that based fundamentals. And there were 5 different ways. The 5th way ended up where I took the final shot from. So we worked on that, and Woody's the reason we won. Now I'll tell you why as we go through this story. The first thing he did, Mr. Hinkle didn't believe in his own defense. He would never play it. Woody had never played a zone defense in class. he changed us to a man-to-man during practice. We worked hard on that man-to-man. After 2 games, we won them, but not the one. He decided we couldn't play the man-to-man very well. But we only played the man-to-man and when we're behind trying to get ahead. So what did he do? Most coaches say, "You want to go to the highway?" Marvin Wood went to our 8th grade coach, Mark Combs, and said, "Mark, you come up and teach these kids his own defense." Mark said, "No." Woody said, "No." Why? Mark said, "The kids already know." Woody said, "I don't. If you come up and teach me the zone defense," that's why you see Mark Combs in all of our pictures, back row, second from left. He went to an 8th grade coach asking for information.
So how much coaching experience did he have before he got the minor job?
2 years. He's only 24.
Right. Well, that's why I was wondering if he was straight out of college or, or how much.
No, he had 2 years of coaching. He had a 50-50 record. Now, he was scheduled to go to a school in southern Indiana. He was coaching at French Lick, Larry's hometown. He was scheduled to go to this school, and when he interviewed his school at Milan, they offered him, I think it was $2,000. And he said, "You know, I've got 2 young kids, and I have an offer for $500 more than that, and I need the money." The school board president said, "We wouldn't think you were a very good businessman if you came here for less money than you had at that bigger school, so we'll match it."
Okay.
So he came, all right? In addition to the zone defense, he brought in a full court zone trap, half court zone trap, which John Wooden used pretty well at UCLA. So we had a great season. We lost 4 games. But everybody is excited. We're going to the section, well, we won the county tournament, and I told you we beat that argument 3 years before. But we won the county tournament. We're going to the sectional, and guess who we're playing the first game of the section? So Woody said, "Fellas, we don't want to get hurt. Here's what we're going to do." And their gym was about as big as this room here. He said, "Bob, you go to center court with the ball. Angle, 10-second line out of bounds. Craft, 10-second line out of bounds. White, back corner, foot, back corner." Now what's that sound like? 4-point offense, and you got Dean Smith and North Carolina running that, right?
Dean Smith, that's what
We used it against Osgood. It was so effective we beat 35-17. Now, we went ahead with that full court press, the half court press, and we won the sectional. We go to the region. Now, we had been there 4 times, as I told you.
This is your junior year.
Junior year.
You're talking, okay.
His 24-year-old coach. We have never won a game at the region. Again, we're there 4 times. So, and I'm going to say this again. The sectional cuts the total teams down to 64 out of 700. At the regional in Rushville, 5,000 people, and you couldn't get tickets for it. You couldn't get tickets. We drew Knightstown Memorial, not the high school, Knightstown Memorial, which is a home for orphan children. They have us down the first game of the regional by 9 points with 1 minute and 49 seconds to go. Our fans are leaving. They've seen this before. We put on full-court zone trap, stone ball 3 straight times, hit a couple of free throws. We get within 2 points. There's like 24 seconds on the clock. We had the ball out of bounds, we threw it in, and the time forgot to start the clock. The fans are throwing things on the floor, they're screaming, the officials finally saw it, called time, went over to the bench, we're in the huddle wondering what's going on. And they were there maybe a minute or so, it seemed like 10 minutes to us. They never took any time off. With 0 showing on the clock, Ray Crafton was a substitute that year, hit a layup and tied the game. First overtime, tied. Second overtime was sudden death. First 2 points wins.
So is it a jump ball? I'm assuming the jump ball started the overtime? Okay.
And the first 2 points went. You get hit a free throw, they hit a free throw. You hit another free throw, you're the winner. I hit 2 free throws. We won the first game in the history of Milan High School. And fans came with coat and ties. 4 of them showered with us. They did. That night, 53 was more like the movie. There's a double overtime. That night we won by 2. Sweet 16, by the way, the Sweet 16 and Final Four that the NCAA uses, they had to call the Indiana High School Athletic Association to find out if they had copyrighted Sweet 16 and Final Four, and they hadn't. That's the only reason they could use it. So we go to the semi-state, we have an overtime, and we won it. That night, we played Shelbyville, who won the tournament in 48. And we beat them. And it's a record. We held the 2 field goals for the final game of the state tournament. David Halberstam, the Pulitzer Prize writer, called me and wanted me to look up some statistics. He said, they tell me I got to talk to you about Indiana basketball. And I looked up statistics. The 2 field goals wasn't a record, but they were 2 for 51. 2 for 51. So we won the semi-state. This young 25-year-old took us all the way to the Final Four after having never won a game in the regional, and 7 of us are coming back. Everybody's excited again. So again, there's a double overtime, 2 points overtime, and then we're in the final. We got beat in the afternoon game, so we didn't get to the final.
South Bend got you.
South Bend Central beat us by 19. Yeah. Woody, all through the tournament, here's another reason that we won, because of Woody. I want you to think about this. We did not know points per game or free throw percentage or field goal percentage any of the 2 years.
The first time you and I spoke on the phone, this was last November. I know you've talked to a lot of people between now and then, so you may not remember this. You told me that over the phone, that was just one thing that you all just, so you just went out and played.
We
and
did
did your
not
job.
know.
Yeah.
Reporters kept asking Woody through the tournament. They said, what are the, finally in the semi-state, our senior year, one of the reporters said, well, Woody, don't you keep statistics? He said, yeah, got them. He said, well, what are they? He said, they're good enough. 26 years old. Think about that. Now, you don't have to worry about hitting a free throw or field goal if you don't know what the percentage is. That's one thing. All through the tournament, our junior year and our senior year. By the way, our senior year, the reason I say our junior year was like the movie, we had a 15-point winning margin by the time we hit Munson Central. No team came within double digits of us except one, Aurora, who beat us the last game of the season by 9. We beat them by 8 in the regional. All the other victories were double digits. 15-point winning margin. I didn't know that either until David Halberstam told me. So we're going through the tournament, and we use the four-corner offense as an offensive weapon, not just a slow drive. We played Christmas Addicts with Oscar Robertson
That was my next question.
in the finals of the semi-state. We had them down something like, I don't know, 25 to 20 in that area. We go into the fourth quarter, starting the third quarter, we beat them 65 to 52. Terre Haute Bushmore, the afternoon game in the state tournament, we're ahead 35 to 30, I think it was. We go into the fourth quarter, we beat them 60 to 48. No team in the tournament ever got ahead of us. Once we got ahead and went into the fourth quarter, except Lucy Central. We had them down 6 points, 23 to 17 at halftime. We go into the fourth quarter, and shortly into the fourth quarter, we're down 28 to 26. They score 11, we score 3. That picture right here, I get across the 10-second line. I stood there for 4 minutes and 17 seconds, down 2 points in the final game, and 15,000 fans are standing screaming their heads off, and there ain't nothing going on except guys doing jumping jacks. Great crowd, good about it. I love 28-28. I think I missed a shot, and they went down and scored 30-28. We called time, and I don't know how much time, but something's on the clock. Minute and a half, 2, I don't know. And at the timeout, Woody said, fellas, we don't have to score a field goal. We hit our free throws, we're going to win the game. So he said, here's what we're going to do. He said, Ray, you take it out, throw it to Bob. Oh, I got to tell you, I hit 2 free throws to tie it. Did I tell you that? Anyway, we're tied. Gene White, our starting center. Woody always took suggestions because we thought it was good. Our Gene White, the center who was all 5'11", by the way.
I took a picture of your roster the other day, and it showed everybody was 6'2" and below, and weighed about 160.
Yeah, the two guys that were the tallest were sophomores.
Okay.
Really, Glenn Bussenbaugh and Cutter, but they didn't play much. So Gene says, well, Woody, if we're going to do that, why don't we get on the left side and clear that out? Woody says, that's a good idea. That's what we'll do. I said, let's go over it again. He said, Ray, you take it out. Throw it to Guess who took it out?
You took it in. Yep.
And I'm supposed to have ice water in my veins, right? But it worked out well because Ray got it back to me and I saved my drill. I stood there until the 18 seconds to go. And at that point, that's when I took it out.
Yeah.
And Woody in the huddle told me, he said, Bob, you just dribble around to maybe there are 5 or 6 seconds to go. And if you can, shoot with enough time. Maybe if you miss, we could tip it in. Yeah. So the shot went through with 3 seconds to go, and we went back on defense. If you ever see our, you can get it from the eye and just say, hey, Bob.
I got an opportunity to watch it after
Oh,
you and I
really?
spoke. I saw the whole game.
Oh.
Somehow, some way, I found it on YouTube or
I'll
something.
be damned.
So I've seen the whole thing. So
Yeah, so you know we went back on defense.
So yeah, and they launched one from.
No,
do you know if
they didn't launch it, it didn't, the button went off.
But do you know, did they have any timeouts left?
I have no idea.
Because it surprised me, they went in and grabbed it out.
It wasn't as
and grabbed it.
sophisticated as it
Yeah.
is now.
So that leads to one of the other questions that I had for you. They had to know that your team wanted the ball in your hands, and so when you're watching the game film, you get the clear out, and you're up there dribbling, and you go pretty comfortably into your jump shot that you take. While you're dribbling the ball out, while the clock is ticking, Were you expecting the double team to come to try to force you to get rid
No,
of
I had
that?
no idea what was going on. I really didn't. I'm just reacting to
Okay.
things. Never thought about anything, never thought about missing it, never thought about hitting it. I just did what Woody suggested.
Yeah.
And when you saw the film, you saw I was the only true jump shooter in the Final Four. There were three other guys that jumped and shot, but they weren't jump shooters. Ray Kraft's one of them. And Leon Aguilano was one. So, no, I wasn't thinking anything.
Okay. And some of that because yeah.
Hey, Virginia.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Plump? You doing okay?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great. I just want to touch base with you. We are grabbing a little lunch. We're about a half hour from the museum, and we should be right on pace to get up there by 5 o'clock.
That'll be great. Look forward to seeing you.
And I wanted to give you one caveat. My brother doesn't know any of this exists. He doesn't know we're meeting you tonight. I just talked to Sue at the museum. If you could conveniently not say anything about the Nightstown Lucas Gym, I would really appreciate it because he doesn't even know that place exists. And tomorrow, Roger Hamilton is meeting us there. I purchased a brick with his name on it in front of that. So that's all a surprise tomorrow. So I don't even want you to know that place exists.
I won't talk about anything about the Nightstown Museum.
I do appreciate it.
Not a problem.
You take care, and I look forward to seeing you this evening.
Same here. Be careful. Bye. That's a fellow from Virginia bringing his family and his father for the reason.
Okay.
Anyway.
Still going on. So, well, what I was saying is, as a coach, and I'm watching that game film, I'm thinking, if I'm the defensive team there, I've got to find a way to get the ball out of the best player's hands and hope that somebody else is going to take that last shot. And I was just amazed that they let you go one-on-one and go comfortably to your spot that you wanted.
Yeah, Barnes was a defensive guy. And if you look at it again, you'll see that he wasn't within that close to him. And if you pay close attention, you'll see Hines with his hand behind him, pushing him out, trying to guard him. He thought I was going to drive all the way.
Okay. So,
And must have, yeah.
so you all ended up, when you got to the Final Four, you all played 2 games in one day?
To win the tournament, you have to win at least 3 games in the section, 1 during the week, and from the section, regional, semifinals, and finals, you play 2 games every Saturday
Wow.
if you win.
Okay.
So we had to win 9 games to win the tournament. And if you're in Indianapolis, you had to win 10 because it took 2 wins during the week. But we played 2 games every Saturday through the tournament. We had to win 9 games, and during the season, we only played from October 15th to March the 1st, 21 games. So we had to win almost half of it in a month that it took 2.5
Right.
months during the season.
So when you
Every team has to do
before the playoffs started, what did you typically play weeknights?
What?
I mean, before the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Before the playoffs. I mean,
Well, we play Friday and Saturday night sometimes.
Okay.
Now, another reason that Woody is the reason we won. Back in 54, well, 53 also, there were only 2 major hotels in Indianapolis. And major, I mean, they were like 6 stories.
Okay.
And that was the Playpool and the Lincoln. All the teams and all the fans stayed there. Where did we stay? 10 blocks north at a little YMCA or a hotel, 3 stories. We went around the corner to eat at Apex Grill for our tournament, for our pregame meal. And after I finished playing with Phillips, I lived next door to Woody. And I finally asked him, I said, Woody, why did we stay in that 10 blocks north in that little hotel and all the other teams and fans? He said, I didn't want you and your teammates downtown listening to those fans telling you how good you were. Pretty smart. He is a reason. There's no question.
Very, very interesting. So I'm curious, one of my other questions,
Oh, by
we've
the way,
already-
Mr. Grinstead, he and I became pretty good friends. We went to the tournaments together in Final Four. And he told me, he said, Bob, I was devastated when they fired me because I knew I had a lot of material coming back. But for you players, it was the best thing we would never have won if I was a coach. They told me that.
It takes a lot of character to admit that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
So how much, like, going through the playoffs, and nowadays, we as high school coaches, we can get game film. If I'm gonna play somebody a week later.
I never heard of Muncie Central.
What, did you get any kind of scouting report at all over your next opponent? Did it just show
No,
up?
all we did, the assistant coach, Clarence Kelly, was a good scout. He would scout, and before we played, the B team would be the other team, and they played like they played, but we didn't know who they were. Now, I have heard of Christmas Adams and Oscar Robertson, obviously. Well, the only reason I knew it was because Lawrenceburg, my sister married a guy from there, and he took me to the semi-state, and I saw Christmas Adams play then. But most of the players have never been to the field. And you got to go Friday before the tournament for practice, okay? The first year, and the tournament was a legal field, 15,000, they assign a motorcycle policeman to you, and you got to run all the red lights to go to the practice. We didn't have any red lights in mine. Pat Stark was his name. So, what was I going to tell you? Anyway.
Well, you were talking about your assistant coach originally.
Oh yeah,
Your
he would.
assistant coach that
Yeah,
would-
and the B team then would be that team, but we didn't know. Maybe the other guys did, but I had never heard of it. Muncie Central won more state tournaments in the senior class than any team in the state, but I never heard of them. So not knowing who they were. Now, we knew the teams in our regional because they were all in our district, but when you get to the semi-state, we didn't know. Pat Stark, by the way, sidelight. He's also in all of our team, not that one, but all that you'll see on the other side of the team picture in the dressing room. Pat Stark's in it. He was in our dressing room before we went out to play Muncie Central. And he told us, he said, fellas, if you win tonight, I'll take you downtown Indianapolis, around the circle with my lights on, and we'll go the wrong way. And he did. Almost got fired. He also followed us to Miami for our celebration. To give you an idea of the interest, I told you basketball is king. We get to Summers, which is 9 miles out of Miami. There's an 18-mile-long caravan behind us. Cars are parked along the side of the road in front of us. 2 cars behind our team. By the way, Chris Bowles gave us Buick for the semi-state Cadillac for the state tournament both years. But 2 cars behind us. A friend of mine told his wife, I'm going to walk. You drive. Now it's 9 miles. We beat her to Milan walking. The state police were in Milan. They were guarding the town because they closed everything and went to the tournament. The state police estimated between 30 and 40,000 people tried to get into about 1,150. And they came from 4 surrounding states, plus Nebraska, and there was one other, New Mexico or someplace. So that's how much it is.
I know, so you all obviously made it to the semifinals the year after your junior year. Were you all, did y'all get much attention for the being such a small school?
There were newspaper people, TV people, and miles, and they're interviewed. But Woody kept us away from all that. Again, he did. Here's another thing that he did. He told us before the tournament as juniors, he said, fellas, we're not going to celebrate if you win the sectional, if you win the region, if you win the semi-state. We'll celebrate when we get defeated or we win it all. Now, everybody, yeah, how do you win the sectional? They got a big banquet, do it. We never did that. We only had 2 celebrations, and we got beat in the Final Four of the juniors, and we won it in 54. You know, we didn't think about that when we were playing, but I look back on that. Woody was brilliant.
Yeah. There was something else that did you, I was just curious, I know this has been a bit good. Did you know at the time, did you know Oscar Robinson was going to end up being as good as he? I mean, was he at that time?
When we played them, by the way, he has to respect me. I had 28, he only had 22. But I normally just tell people he was only a sophomore. But if you saw Oscar Robinson play a game, you knew he was going to get great. There's no question. I mean, he was super.
Well, he obviously ended up making a name for himself, but I was just
A
wondering.
little bit.
Yeah.
No team from Indianapolis. Now, our tournament started in 1911. No team from Indianapolis had ever won the state tournament until Oscar Robertson's team did in 1955. They only lost 1 game during that season. No team had gone undefeated until they did in 1956. Ray Crow, by the way, Crispus Attucks was established in 1927 because the Ku Klux Klan controlled Indiana. They had the governor, they had the Congress, and the Grand Dragon lived here. They didn't want those black kids going to any white schools, so they sent Crispus Attucks and a couple of other black schools around, and the IHSAA did not allow them in the tournament until 1943 or 44. They didn't allow the Catholic schools and religious schools in the tournament until the same time. I think Crispus Attucks beat them by 1 year, but it's either 43, 44 that they allowed them in. Attucks had never won a sectional until 1950-51. Ray Crow became the coach. He coached there from 1950 through 1957. They won 170 games and lost only 20 in 7 years. And the defeat that we put on them in the semi-state was the worst defeat he ever had in his coaching career. That's what the four-corner offense did for him.
That is amazing. All right. Well, I've got some others that you have already done.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, right, this is just oddball stuff.
That's fine.
Okay. Since it's in the 50s, do you remember what type of shoes did you wear for your basketball games?
Converse.
Okay, that was going to be my guess. So after I put together all the years that you were in school and thinking back, my dad would have been 1 year younger than you.
Is that right?
And Dad was, and also a college 2-sport athlete, that all they wore. And then Dad became a high school basketball coach at the school that I ended up going to. But all of his team pictures in the early 60s were
The founder of Converse was from Columbus, Indiana.
okay.
And when I was at Phillips, he came out to pitch and shoot, and I played golf with him.
Oh,
Yeah, great guy. I'm trying to think of his name. I'll think of the 2 a.m.
So-
Bobby.
Was that the only option as far as footwear and basketball shoes, or were there
Yeah,
other?
we didn't have any idea. I was just happy to have a pair of shoes and be on the varsity. I didn't know anything about Converse. They were just, I mean, they were nice shoes. With our sophomore, junior year, I think we bought our own shoes. Our senior year, then they were provided to us because we didn't have much money in the athletics department back then. That's why Mr. Green got fired and why he offered to pay for the uniform.
Okay. So how much time, this stage of your life, how much time do you spend watching basketball?
Well, I used to watch a lot of it, and I used to go to the games at Hinkle all the time, but about 15, 20 years ago, just in my spine, due to arthritis, and I just can't sit that long without moving. So I go once a year. They have Butler has a game in January for all ex-B-men from Butler to play basketball. And I go to that, and I used to watch the state tournament, and I went to the state tournament every year until they changed to multi-class.
Yeah.
And to give you an idea of what that effect was, from 1950, pardon me?
Attendance dropped drastically.
From 1956 through 1992, in addition to being televised statewide, we drew 1 million people to our state tournament.
Wow.
1 million people. And when they changed in 97 season, the year before we drew something like 800 and some thousand. The first year of the multi-class they drew 480,000, and it has not been back there since. The TV contract paid $500,000 a year to the IHSAA, basically because of the boys' tournament. They also had a basket football, but it was basketball. The first year, and now they had 3 years to go. After the first year of multi-class, the TV canceled the next 2 years. They sent, the reason I know this, Ray Kraft, his teammate, was at the IHSAA for 25 years. He was there during this transition. They sent a letter to every TV station in Indiana asking them to bid on the tournament. They got 0 replies. Nobody replied. A TV station out of Noblesville, Indiana, picked it up for $45,000. That's what and Bob Gardner is the reason. He was the commissioner. Blake Rest was assistant commissioner, and they basically lied. Ray Kraft was scheduled to be there. He had been there 25 years. He was the only associate commissioner. The rest of them were assistants. He took the ex-commissioner's place when he had a heart attack, and then he could count. We didn't have very good math school at mine, but he could count. There were 17 men on the floor. He walked into the meeting thinking he was elected. Instead, 2 guys changed their votes. One of them, he played against Rising Sun for 3 years. He not only told Ray he was voting for him, he told Dean White, who was Kirby brother, he was voting for Ray. Don't worry about it. He changed his vote, and the guy from North Bend, Vernon, changed. Bob Gardner was and he lied. That'd be another hour. I can tell you about what happened because Ray and I were on speaking engagements. And I'll just tell you this story. Ray never criticized the multi-class. He was always asked, well, what do you think about single or multi? Well, basically, I prefer the single class, but I'll support anything the board decides. After the vote, Bob Gardner, who, by the way, came from Milan, he was football coach at Milan and then principal at Milan, Ray Kraft got him the job, sent a letter to Ray Kraft. Ray wouldn't let me publish it. I wish he would have, but I still got it. He fired Ray Kraft. He said, we're going to fire you because of your attitude and posture in our private board meetings. True story. True story.
Wow.
Great guy, right? Now he's with the National Association of Athletics. They supposedly did an 18-month study and visited all these other schools, and they said this multi-class is a success. I mean, hell, nobody, you could put 10 states together and they wouldn't draw 1 million people total to their tournament and have a $500,000 TV contract. And in their report, they said if you have more than 3 classes, it won't succeed. So they originally came out with 3 classes. I asked Ray how they drew for the tournament, and he said, well, basically you start north or south, pick the largest gymnasiums, and that's your sectional, 64 sites. We drew it out, had the 3 classes posted right there. The TV stations in Indianapolis came out, and we reported it. This is what it's going to look like. A month later, they changed it to 4 classes. And it did not succeed.
How many do they have now?
4.
Okay. Okay. See,
And there's only 400 and some schools now.
yeah. In Oklahoma, I think we got 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And the largest schools, there will be the largest classification. There are 16 teams. And they come out of their college.
So they're state tournament champions, right?
Right.
Which one of the 7?
Yeah, it's
You know, the reason we grew 1 million people all those years and we had that TV contract was because everybody likes to see the small stuff up. You didn't have to win the sectional. If you beat the favorite in the sectional, it was statewide news. It was on TV. Now, we had our 70th reunion a year ago, and there was a lady from northern India, I forget the town, and I'm talking to her, and she said, you know, we're in the state final. I said, well, congratulations. I said, it's still a great honor to win 1-4. And she said, but I said, nobody pays any attention. She said, Bob, there are people around town who don't know we're in the state tournament. True.
So, I think I heard an interview that you did, I think it was about 15 to 20 years ago, but I found it on the internet, and I listened to it the other day. And in that interview, it was a radio interview you had with somebody, and they were talking about the movie. So your game-winning jumper is, I think you said that's really the only part of the movie that is super accurate.
Yeah. The movie took 5 years to make, okay? Nobody in Hollywood wanted to produce it because they said basketball movies do not succeed. Angelo Pizzo, the writer and co-producer, grew up in Bloomington, Indiana. David Anspaugh, the director, grew up in the state of Indiana. They talked about making a movie about Miles, exactly what happened back in the 60s when they were, late 60s, when they were fraternity brothers. They didn't have any idea it was going to succeed, but when Angelo wrote the script, they kept showing trailers out in Hollywood to get somebody interested. And I heard this story, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard this story, that after 5 years, there was a gentleman that immigrated here from Eastern Europe, made a lot of money, grew up in an alcoholic family, and he told them if they would keep the drunk scenes in the movie, he would give them $1,000. And they made it for a movie. And that's the only reason that it was made. Angelo went we have the county has a weekly newspaper outside of Batesville. Batesville's too big for it. They had 5,000 people, and the biggest of any of the other 8 schools was Milan, with 1,150. He went and looked at the Sales Republic and went back and looked at all the stories and so forth. And he talked with Gene White, who was a starting center, and he was coaching at Milan at that time. And Angelo told me, I've been speaking engagement with him, and he told me the first thing he learned about making movies, you have to have controversy. So he's looking for controversy. He asked Gene, he said, well, you know, I know you had a coaching change at the end of your sophomore year. How about the coach? How was it? Gene said, everybody loved you. I mean, the player, did they get upset? They're not playing. No, players, they like where you do. How about the player getting cross-play, dating? No, he said, we weren't told that. Angelo said he walked away. He said, how in the hell can I make a movie about everybody hugging, loving, and kissing? And he changed the whole script that he had written. And the only factual thing is the last 18 seconds after the ball is thrown in. Not the hug, after the ball is thrown in. We never played any of those teams. We never had fights. Woody never got technical. He did kick a couple of guys off the team.
I found it now that I've done all the research and everything. I did find it pretty interesting. But in the movie, they had Joe Beebe, South Benedict, who
and in the movie they had a 52 instead of 54. The coach at South Bend, by the way, was the Christmas Addicts coach I was telling you about, Ray Crow.
Okay.
And his assistant was Don Robinson's brother.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So. I suppose they changed it because of loyalty. Didn't make any difference. They didn't think it was going to succeed. They had a sneak preview for 3 years in Indianapolis. When they released the movie, they only released it in limited theaters in Indiana. Not all theaters, limited. They had a preview Thursday night, I think, before it was open on Saturday or Sunday. And Angelo invited the team there, and the Indianapolis Star wanted me to write an article about the movie. And we just went to coat and tie, and I had a notebook, and I'm ready to write things. I started writing, and I think I wrote 3 sentences. And I got so close to the movie, I didn't write anything else. And I had to do the article by memory. But after that preview, Angelo asked me, he said, did we get the last 18 seconds right? I said, you nailed it. Yes, that's what it was. He said, what do you think? And I said, I told him that story. I said, I think I enjoyed it a little bit. But that's why it was changed. The original script that he wrote was more about Miley than what happened, really.
Right. This has been amazing. It's been absolutely amazing.
Nice to meet you, Tim.
Thank you so much.
Things go well for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I'm so glad that you made time for me in your schedule.
Hey, I'm retired. I worked, I had a financial planning agency. I retired last November. After 63 years, I figured out the office is still in existence. We walked north, my daughter, my son-in-law, and their daughter took over the management of Bobby Plump and Associates. They were in here yesterday.
So is this, so like, just curious how far do you live from here?
About 10 minutes.
Okay.
I live on the north side. that direction, almost here on set, on 71st Street, so 64. Yeah. There's been, Jonathan, my son, is the reason this restaurant's here. He was married at the time to a girl that ran a jazz cooking restaurant 2 blocks south of here. And back in the 90s, I had bypass surgery back in 92. They opened me up, took my heart out, and put stents in on my third pacemaker. But about that time, he said, Dad, now I bought this building back in '84. It was worth a little less. And my office in here for a while. And he said, well, convert that in, and then I leased it to him. He said, convert that. I said, Jonathan, I don't want anything to do with this. And I said, hell, they never see that. He's taking 5 years on the dollar. So after about 3 years, we opened in January. And we opened, by the way, that was a building. Those were windows back there, there was a wall here, there was a wall there, there was all over there. And Jonathan tore the whole thing, the deck wasn't there, he tore the whole thing down with the tuba poles and then rebuilt it. So we opened on the 3 conditions. I said, son, okay, we'll do it. Nothing to do, and I don't know, and I don't want to know what I definitely want nothing to do with personnel. And you promised me if there's a problem, you're gonna handle it, they ain't coming to me. So that's how we get 3 days. I knew you were pretty good. Yeah, he came up with 3 days shot.
I was 18, but actually, yeah, we're just not sure to say it's all good. You know, everything.
Went to the University of Wyoming. And the funny thing, we came back after the
The shirt you're wearing. Well, I gotta check my phone and check, see if my wife is texted or check her location and find out where she's at. Very much a privilege.
It's a privilege that people still remember. Did you see this quote at the video?